This episode of Moola was brought to you by Just Health. Hi world, this is Frugal Millennial, and on this episode of Moola, I'm joined by Adam. Adam and I met whilst we were both doing our PhD in biochemistry at Monash University. He has gone on to do great things with his science career. Welcome to the show, Adam. How's it going?
Not too bad, thanks. Thanks for having me.
That's okay. So what do you do for a living?
Well, as you just touched on, so I'm a biochemist, researcher at Monash University, and I've been there for, I think, about 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, my research focus has been biochemistry and immunology focused. So understanding how our immune system functions.
Yep. Is COVID-19 a topic that you're looking into at the moment?
Not me personally, but I do know of quite a few people both at Monash and outside of Monash that are focusing on that. So I'm pretty interested in it.
Yeah. So is this your dream job?
Surprisingly enough, yes, actually. So when I was in primary school, I remember we had to list our dream jobs, and I wrote down my dream job was either a microbiologist or a stockbroker. So I ended up with at least one sort of thing.
Yeah. Wow, fantastic. So did you talk about finance growing up?
We did a bit, mostly from my dad. He was always very finance and investment focused. So he spent a lot of time, going to seminars, listening to lectures and tapes. At the time, it would have been, podcast equivalents, so just saying recordings of those in the know, those in the field that can pass on knowledge. And I did learn quite a lot from what he had to say. And then he had a lot of books and a lot of resources that we could also use. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we did grow up in a pretty finance focused environment, even though that's not what I pursued in my career.
Did he work in finance?
No. So he was working in engineering, but okay. I guess he immigrated to Australia in his 20s, and then he was very finance focused to, provided a proper upbringing for us, have everything that we need, and he just wanted to be, a good provider, and that's sort of passed on to his kids, myself and my sister.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What is your current relationship with finance?
So it's always been quite rocky. So, I've worked since I was maybe, since as early as I could. So I started working around 14. So I've always had, a bit of cash flow coming in, but I never really focused, despite a lot of what, I learned growing up. I never really saved. I never really invested that much. I just ended up splurging it on, just looking back, it was, pretty stupid things. But over the last couple of years, now that I've, established myself in my career and I've started my own family, now I'm becoming, more finance focused. I'm trying to, how am I going to be able to provide for my family and set my family up for the future? So now my mindset has shifted and changed in that way as well.
Yeah. Are you teaching your daughter finance?
Not just yet. I am teaching her about money. Mm-hmm. And how to save money. So she's got a bank account, not with the Dolomites, but she's got her own savings account, and she saves every coin she finds, she put it into a little coin jar, and then after she's saved enough, she can go purchase something.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Dolomite is a very common account provided by CBA for a lot of kids. Like kids growing up in Australia would have had an account with Commonwealth Bank. So do you currently have any side hustles?
Not really. So my main source of income is purely from my work. However, the only thing really is, generating, passive income from, dividends from shares, or also from investment in cryptocurrencies. They're my main source of, passive or side income aside from my main work.
Do you currently own or rent your house?
We're currently renting. One thing that I've always wanted to do is buy my own home, and it's something that I've been saving and working towards for a very long time. Couple of life sometimes happens, and sometimes savings dwindle, but that's one of the reasons why I've shifted my focus in finance, my relationship in finance, to how can I better save to own my own home, and from there, how can I better save to own more homes to earn passive income through rent.
Yeah, it's a great strategy. I have lots of videos that shows, one of the most stable passive income is properties.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your personal finance. Do you budget?
I do. So I've got, so I do have with family of quite I have set aside amount for expenses, day-to-day living, that sort of thing, but I do budget for a certain set amount goes directly into a savings account, which I can't access or have difficulty accessing. It takes time to get money out of there.
Yeah.
And I have a set amount of money that goes into investments.
Yeah. So how many percent is that going into savings and investment?
So at the moment it was, it's 20% savings, 20% investments. It used to be, 30% into savings and nothing into investments, or 10% into savings, nothing into investments, but I've sort of changed that a bit.
Yeah.
So I feel like the less I spend paycheck to paycheck, and more of it going into savings or investments, the better it is long term.
For sure. Do you have any money saving tips?
Money saving tips. Don't go into shopping centers without a shopping list, and or shop around.
Yep.
Always buy, if you can, buy secondhand things like furniture and things around the house. That always helps. Marketplace or eBay. And never go over your budget. Really. Yeah. If you feel like you need to, then when you get your next lot of income or next lot of cash flow, then accommodate for that.
What's the best bargain you've ever bought?
So one of my things that I've always had in my that I've always done is collectibles and that sort of thing. So whether it's growing up as a kid, it's always things like Pokemon cards or baseball cards or something like that. But
nice.
As I've gotten older, it's music memorabilia or whiskeys or anything like that. So
whiskey,
so like buying a cheap bottle of a rare bottle of whiskey and then watching the price of that go up over time. That's been an interesting investment because it's not something you normally think about.
Right. How much has it gone up in price?
One particular bottle went up threefold increase, so 100 to like 300, I think it is. But it's more, as far as like a long-term investment, it's not really something I thought about, but it's just more of a cool thing for myself, really.
Yeah. So when you get a new house, make sure to have a cellar, and you can stock up on whiskey or whatever expensive.
Well, I've actually already got a bar set up, so this house that I'm in actually that's set up pretty quickly.
Yes, there you go. So that threefold, is that within 10 years? How many years was it?
That was actually only within about 5 years, actually. So a lot of the Japanese whiskies, they actually go up in price quite quickly if you bought them at the right time.
Yeah. What are the brands?
Just through the way. So Hibiki, Yanazaki are probably the two main ones.
So what other collectibles are there that you have?
So I guess my main obsession at the moment has really been NFTs. They'd be my main collectibles at the moment, really.
Well, let's get into that, talking about NFTs and investment. So how did you start? Sure. And when did you start?
So investing in general, I started maybe a couple of years ago, about 2015 maybe. As far as investing in crypto, I became interested in it in about 2016. Before then, I was investing, just in index funds in the ASX or S&P 500 and just holding them, and even Forex as well for a little bit. But as far as crypto goes, I was introduced to it by a friend. He said back then it was, really only computer geeks or people in the know that say, hey, check out this funny internet money and you can get all this crazy yield on it. I was like, okay, great. Let's start mining. Let's get into it. But I didn't really focus on it until just last year, actually.
Right.
So when COVID lockdowns happened, I had suddenly found myself with all this spare time.
Mhm.
And up until that point, I'd spent all my time focusing on my career, and I hadn't really focused on anything outside my career.
Mhm.
But now I had a bit of extra time, so I was reintroduced to cryptocurrency, and then went down the rabbit hole and just devoted hours after hours per day just looking into it, reading up about it, doing all my due diligence and research and investing from there.
Great. So what shares, let's go back to the share and ETFs and index funds. What were you investing in prior to your jump into crypto?
So it was simply, at the time I had just read, Barefoot Investor, and he'd recommended a couple of index funds. So it's like, all right, I'll put park a bit of money in there and just leave it. And I haven't really done too much with that. I've sort of just left it there, and that's all it is to it.
Yeah. And you've got that currently?
Yeah, still have that.
Yeah. And anything else like blue chip stocks?
Not really. So I've always wanted to look into, investing in the share market a bit more. But I've always, had this hesitancy, or, I was like, am I going to lose all my money? Does it feel like gambling? But I didn't, at the time, I wasn't doing my proper research. I wasn't doing my due diligence. But a lot of those techniques I've sort of learned over the last 12 months. And looking back, it's like, I should have started this earlier, right?
Yeah. Have you guys heard of Spaceship? It's a micro-investing app that has helped its investors double their money in the last 3 years. That is a return of 30.39% per year, which beats a lot of ETFs. And most importantly, you pay no fees for the first $5,000 deposited. So what are you waiting for? Use the referral link to get $5 today. What are you holding in at the moment?
So I've currently got a portfolio of about 20 to 25 different currencies. I guess the main one,
Okay.
I'll sort of split it up in 2 or 3 main categories, right? I've got one category where it's most of my holdings, where it is the buy it, don't ever sell it, just hang on to it for as long as you can. If you can, put some of it into cold storage, just like a hardware wallet, like a ledger. It's like a little USB device where you just disconnect from the online world.
Wow, you actually do that?
Yeah, so I've got some stored in cold storage, so no matter what happens, if it's stored on like an exchange or some custodian, and there's a hack or it goes down and lose all my coins, like this way it's it's protected in an extra way.
Yeah, just make sure you have your password and don't forget it. Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah, so I have some in cold storage, some on a custodial interest earning platform that will generate a yield on things like on Bitcoin and Ethereum are the 2 main ones. Another of my favorite coins is Paxos Gold, which is basically tokenized gold, in a sense where 1 token is equivalent to 1 ounce of gold, and that 1 ounce of gold is stored in a vault in this company. So on certain interest yield platforms, you actually earn interest on tokenized gold. And when the time comes and say, hey, I want to sell this token and withdraw the physical gold, then you can do that and have it shipped to you or stored in a vault somewhere.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a digital access to physical gold, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
That you can only do, which you can't do with physical gold.
Yeah. Okay. Before you said you have some non-fungible tokens. When did you get into that?
So that was actually around this time last year. So I started learning about cryptocurrency in general, learning about Bitcoin. And once you learn about Bitcoin, you learn about some other big projects like Ethereum. You realize what you can build on Ethereum and what different platforms there are on there. And of course, the main one that sort of exploded around this time last year were DeFi, decentralized finance, and NFTs and NFT gaming. And those were the 2 main things that really took my focus, especially the NFTs and the collectibles. And so I've collected artwork from a bunch of different artists. I've collected NFTs that have utility in blockchain games. So you can use these NFTs to play games on a blockchain-based video game and earn tokens every day, essentially.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Fantastic. So how much of your total investment is in crypto and NFTs, and how much is in your stocks?
At the moment, it's probably around 80-20.
So 80 crypto? Yeah.
80 crypto, 20% stocks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that your current position or your starting position?
So that is my current position. My starting position was probably inverse, actually.
Wow.
But the way that the market has grown since, the big crash last March because of COVID, well, not because of COVID, but, it's catalyzed by COVID. The price of a lot of cryptocurrencies have just skyrocketed. Like Bitcoin went from, I think, 3,500 USD in March up to now, what is it, 47,000? It hits around 60,000, 65,000 in May.
So as we speak, crypto has gone up to 63,000. Sorry, Bitcoin has gone up to 63,000. So it's jumping back, especially in the last week, just because of all the institutional investors. About 50% of the crypto is owned by banks, with JP Morgan being one of the biggest. And yeah, no matter what's happening to the regulations in China currently, I don't think that has a major impact. Like, people have realized that's such a minor problem, because you have all these institutional investors, as well as, for example, countries such as Paraguay trying to make it a legal tender in their country. So it's not going to go away. I think in the next few months, we'll see it go up even more. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, say back, earlier this year, where I don't think we were starting to get that institutional investment. I mean, you had, Tesla buying, what is it, 1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. And then every time Elon Musk tweets, the price of it goes up or down, or he starts talking about Dogecoin or whatever it is. But now, regardless of what's happening we had the bans in China of Bitcoin mining. So basically all the Bitcoin miners had to shut everything down, sell everything. A lot of them have moved overseas and started up again. You had that. You had, the FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt in social media, or by influencers, by senators in the US. You currently have the infrastructure bill that's being held up by cryptocurrencies in the Senate going through it this week. But irrespective of everything that's happening, that would normally drive the price down. It's just having no effect, as you've said, and the price keeps going up. And Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a whole are currently sitting in a bull market, and nothing seems to be shaking that.
That's right.
So,
I think because it's such a global investment and global asset, one country's problems won't really affect it or impact it that gravely.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I love it.
Borderless. Yeah, it's borderless. It's anyone can have access to it. Anyone with, a smartphone and some internet access has got access to Bitcoin. It's just fantastic.
Yep. So, are you investing in anything else?
At the moment, no. So my main focus has been cryptocurrencies, and that's where I've been pushing forward quite a bit.
Yep. So every dollar you're making, you're putting into crypto?
Not every dollar, that'll be nice, but no, still sticking to that budgetary rule that I've got at the moment. So 20% is going directly into crypto. It's not going into shares or anything else. It's now 20% straight into crypto.
Yeah, I'm glad you're very rational. I think if it was me, I would just dump it in.
I didn't used to be. That's the thing. So I've made a lot of learning mistakes, trial and error over the last 12 months, and lost a bit of money or missed out on a couple of opportunities. I could have made a lot of money, but at the same time, it's all a learning experience. There's always so much happening in, the investing world and cryptocurrency space that there's always going to be opportunities. So
Want to invest in crypto with ease? Use the sign up link to CoinSpot below to claim $10 worth of Bitcoin. Now back to the show. In terms of just reading up on crypto, what platforms do you use to find your information?
So I follow a lot of podcasts of, big people in the space that will interview big players in cryptocurrencies. So they'll interview people like, hedge fund managers or others who own their own platform, or, big names in the big advocates in the cryptocurrency space. A lot of my initial reading would come from just, Twitter or social media. If to find out about new projects or have access to new projects, or I'd go to their websites, learn about it, read their white papers, see what their communities are like, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So do you follow Elon Musk?
I mean, I've got him followed on Twitter, but I don't follow his. It's more just in case he says something,
really
irrational.
Yes. So what do you think money can help you with?
Choice and freedom, essentially. If you don't have money, then you're limited by what choices, but you're limited by limited choices, essentially. If you have more money, you've got the option to take, the budgetary cuts options, or you can go, the highballer option. You've got the opportunity to provide for, the people in your life, or provide for yourself, build up a better, healthier world for your family or people, your loved ones, that sort of thing. If you don't have money, you're limited in choice. You can't do everything that you want to do for the betterment of people that are close to you and to yourself as well.
So, Adam, are you ready for the lightning round?
Let's do it.
Fantastic. Do you think money can bring you happiness?
Yes, but I don't believe holding money and doing nothing with it is going to bring you happiness. You've got to do something. And just as I touched on, if you've got money, you've got choice. Choice can bring you happiness.
If you had won $20 million, what would you do?
A lot of it would be probably invested. I'll probably buy a house straight away.
Yeah.
Give quite a big chunk of it to my parents and to family.
Yep.
And donate to charities as well, but I'd probably still live within my means.
Yes.
Money or no money. Yeah.
Would you trade 5 years of your life with $50 million?
No, I wouldn't. Simply because in that 5 years, I could really learn to make maybe a fraction of that, but I'd have a longer time to spend it or enjoy it or do something with that money. I'd be able to live, let's say, average lifespans. Let's say everyone lives to 100 years old. That's like, an extra 5% on your life. So I'd rather have that.
Yeah.
Time's more precious.
What's your favorite finance book?
So I grew up with one of the first finance books I ever read was, of course, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think a lot of people were in the same boat. Well, he's kind of fallen a bit out of grace with me. I had an interview with him talking about Bitcoin and the way he views it and treats it. It's kind of, he's just there because he has money, so to spend. So he's kind of fallen a bit out of grace. But I've also read, Barefoot Investor, and at the moment I'm currently reading a book by Jeff Booth called The Price of Tomorrow, which is about the role of technology in increasingly hyperinflationary world with all this money printing and the role Bitcoin can play in the future.
Warren Buffett or Cathy Wood?
Yeah, you'd expect me to say Cathy Wood, but I'm going to say Warren Buffett. I spend a lot more time reading about Warren Buffett and learning his philosophy than I have with Cathy Wood, despite her being in the same space. But no, I'll still say Warren Buffett for now. That might change, but.
Do you think he will come around about Bitcoin and crypto?
Maybe. He might come around and understand it, but he won't invest. I think it's just a different era. A lot of the older investors have already made their money. They're not going to go around and buy Bitcoin to try and make more money. They might understand it, or gain a surface understanding of it, but I don't think they're going to be big advocates for the space or invest a huge amount of their money into it.
Yeah. Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos?
Jeff Bezos. Elon Musk originally, but I would say Jeff Bezos.
Warren Buffett or Jeff Bezos?
Ooh, Warren Buffett still.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Adam, for coming on the show. Where can we find you on social media?
Sure. So I've got, I'm just on Twitter. I've got, my account is the Hodling Scientist, or hodl, at Hodl Sci, so HODLSCI.
I'll put the links down below.
Yeah, that's the only thing there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming on the show.
Great. Thanks very much for having me.
And that's it of this episode of Moola. You can find me on social media or join my Discord group and chat to me from there. And make sure to check out my freebies on the links below. Thanks for watching.